Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From here on, I'm going to try and speak in English. So I do apologize to those who may have difficulty in understanding English. But I think the message that I wish to share with you today is one that you will understand from my heart. I'm going to speak about education, because education brings to me the most important gift that I have ever had. 77 years ago, a little girl was being born in Hargeisa Group Hospital. The mother who was delivering that baby had difficulty bringing this child out to the world. Luckily, there were doctors who had the skills and the knowledge to pull that little girl out with forceps. Forceps that at that time were very dangerous because they were rough, because they were so hard on the skull of a little newborn baby that very few children survived the birth through a forceps delivery. That little girl lived to become this old woman today who's going to talk to you about education. I'm proud to be talking to you about education because 70 years ago, when I was old enough to go to school, there were no schools for girls. It was considered unwise, undesirable, unnecessary to teach a girl to read and write. But thankfully, I had that opportunity, not in Somaliland, because there were no schools for girls at that time, but in neighboring Djibouti, in neighboring French Somaliland. And my first language became French. It opened a door to me that taught me skills to write, to calculate, to think, and also to achieve certain standards that allowed me to reach a level where I would get a certificate or a diploma. That opportunity also gave me the opportunity to see and understand how far one could go and reach through education, because I was surrounded by people who had a great knowledge, people who had achieved excellence in their different fields, and people who also provided to me literature and books and magazines, an opportunity to learn from what was happening beyond the borders of the country that I was born in and the one in which I was being educated. There was a big world out there. There was a world that was filled with scientists. There was a world that was filled with experts in different fields, in science, in arts, in literature, in medicine, in every field in this world. And then, in 1954, I competed for an examination and passed and won a scholarship to go to England. And I flew from the airport that is just less than a kilometer away from here on a plane that was a DC-10. You would know what a DC-10 is. It was a little plane with propellers that made a lot of noise, and that took 2 days to fly from here to London and made frequent stops. In fact, it was nicknamed grasshopper flights because it would take off from here and land in Aden, and then in Khartoum, and then in Cairo, and then in Greece, I think, and I think in Paris, and then London. So it was a grasshopper flights. That opportunity took me to London, where I did further studies and studied that profession for which I have that great passion that I have for treating sick people. It taught me nursing. And then it taught me an even better skills. It taught me to become a midwife. And it taught me the skills that would help me to try and deliver little babies who had difficulties coming out the way I had difficulties coming out. Education is what enabled me to learn that. Continued, came back here, and shared my skills with my people, started training others, started teaching, showing, becoming an example, becoming a role model to others. And today I am so proud to be speaking to you on my second TEDx speech, not in Switzerland or another country, but in my hometown, Hargeisa, in Somaliland, and on top of a hill that at one time had anti-aircraft guns mounted upon it, that were mounted not to shoot at airplanes, bring down airplanes, but to shoot at the community, to shoot at the city of Hargeisa and destroy schools, and destroy hospitals, and destroy homes. Today, that hill is where we are on this beautiful hotel from where we are making this TEDx. And an even greater pleasure and a greater honor to me is that a good number of the people who have organized this TEDx are females, girls who have an education, girls who have skills to organize and to manage and put up a facility like this and a program like this. Now, education is something that was not born yesterday, and education is not something that only comes with writing or reading. We are all here today because we come from that great people who lived in the Horn of Africa, that great nomadic people who were experts in herding their livestock, who were experts in herding their camels, experts in poetry, experts in mediation, experts in dialogue and discussions, experts in communication. And I know most of you have heard or listened to Somaliland poetry that dates back to several hundreds of years, and that were conceived and composed by people who may or may not have learned how to read and write. But that was something that they did because they were educated in that skill of composing, of rhythm and rhyme. Education comes to you from your heart. Education is something that you should seek and that you should enjoy and that you should always replenish. Education is something that never ends. I'm still learning at 77. I'm still teaching, but most of all, I am learning. I'm learning from you. I'm excited by what you can do. And the things that really excite me the most and give me so much pleasure is when I travel and I come across people like you. Some of you were born at times when my country was at war. Some of you were just maybe little toddlers who today are scientists, both here and elsewhere in the world. A few days ago, I came across a young Somali scientist who is doing another PhD on research. And the research that that young man was doing was among the latest, the state-of-the-art science of today. Stem cell research on cartilage. Now, how more specific could that become? Because we know that when a cartilage is cut and remains, does not regenerate like muscle does. and to do research on stem cells, to see and learn how cartilage can be brought to regenerate itself, to me was a great gift to learn about. And to know that that young scientist was someone who is from Hargeisa. Some 14 years ago, I was invited to attend the Millennium celebrations in Chicago. And that's when 1999 was moving out to become 2000. And there was a great anxiety in the world. Nobody knew what computers were going to do. Nobody knew what information was going to be lost. And among the 15 people who were on duty in Chicago City that night to make sure that there were no glitches in the computers and there would be no information or data lost was a young man, a telecommunications engineer and an expert from Burao. Now that's who I want you to reach for. These are the people I would like you to use as an example and role models. I want you to develop that hunger for knowledge that these young people had to get them to where they are today. I want you to seek excellence. I would like you to go for it because you can, because it is there for you to reach. It is there in the world for you to grab and get and improve and contribute to and become that example and that unit that contributes to the global development of nations and particularly to the development of our country, Somaliland. Now, I would like to share with you a very quick information that I think you would all be proud of. In Somaliland, or anywhere in the world, we have babies who are born with congenital malformations. And some of them are born with malformations that we can correct, and some we cannot correct. And those we can correct are the ones that are born with a lot of water in the brain. It's called hydrocephalus or hydrocephaly. And that water suffocates the brain. That water, the pressure of that water damages the brain. And until a couple of years ago, there was nothing we could do for those children. But I'm so happy and so proud to share with you the information that today we can do this operation here in Somaliland, and that we can do it free of charge, and that we can do it at a state of perfection that today we have not lost, I think, more than 2 children. And the number of children we have and that we follow up for 2 years are 183 children. Now, that comes with knowledge, that comes with training, that comes with perseverance, that comes with ambition, that comes with dedication, that comes with all the qualities that I want you to develop. That comes with all the qualities that are in you and that you've got to find inside you. And failure is not an option. Giving up is never an option. Perseverance is what I want. To the last day in your life, you do it, you go after it, and you get it. On this hill that was once a site from where people were killed, I want you to take back this knowledge, this message, that you will take a knowledge, a message that will give life to our country, that will give life to our people, that would give hope to our people, and that will increase the pluses that I have been talking about, the achievements that I have been talking about. You can do it, you must do it, you owe it to us, you owe it to yourselves, you owe it to your families, you owe it to Somaliland. Thank you very much. Thank you.